So the ceremony is going to be, it's pre-recorded, so I'm not actually going to be hosting it directly. We're just going to run the recording. Many of you are familiar with this recorded version of the Great Compassion Ceremony. It's usually called the Great Compassion Renewal and Reform, or has the idea of repentance in it, of acknowledging harm done personally and in the collective. So the ceremony begins with a lot of making of offerings, of opening into invoking and honoring the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. As the heart of the ceremony is about Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, we do 3 bows to Kuan Yin and honor Kuan Yin, Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, Chenrezig Bodhisattva 3 times. And then it is a reflection on the vows of Kuan Yin, the power of this practice, doing the power of this practice, the sounding of the Kuan Yin's Great Compassion mantra. And then towards the end of the ceremony, there is a recognition of harm done to self and others, to the earth, and so on. And this piece is really, if you remember the Lona Sutta from the Theravada, which is the Salt Crystal Sutta, remember that the Buddha taught that unwholesome karma, when it starts to come into fruition, it's very bitter, and it's a bit like having a lump of salt in a small glass of water. If you try and drink that water, it's very toxic. And so the Buddha likened the cultivation of wholesome states of the Dharma in one's life is a bit like extending that small glass to a great river. Like, for example, he gave the analogy of the Ganges, a pure river. It's not exactly pure these days, but you imagine a pure great river. It's a bit like the unwholesome karma that arises from actions done before, from when they arise and like a salt crystal, then it's like taking that same salt crystal and placing it in the pure body of water. The effects of the unwholesome karma arrive for just a moment and then are dissolved very quickly, so hardly felt for a moment. So there may be the same causes that brought about the same result, but it will be felt in different ways depending on the ability to dissolve and transform that karmic effect. So this is a very big part, central to the ceremony, actually the dissolving of unwholesome karma. And alongside that, aligning with the vow power and making vows or commitments ourselves around the Bodhisattva path, and aligning that with the power of Kuan Yin Bodhisattva in particular. Kuan Yin literally means the one who contemplates or listens to the sounds of the world and returns those sounds back into the true nature. So the inner practice is turning the hearing or turning the mind back into its own nature, its deep-seated nature of awakening, of the pure essence of consciousness, as it's sometimes called in the Shurangama Sutra, which is a sutra that actually unfolds the subtle practice of Kuan Yin, the meditative practice of Kuan Yin, the pure essence of consciousness, the deathless heart. In Theravada is often called the deathless, the amata dharma, the undying dharma. So the practice of Kuan Yin is that in its most subtle form, but of course Kuan Yin has also known as the one that can manifest many different bodies, many different appropriate. Sorry, I forgot the mic. Many different bodies, many different forms and responses according to what is needed, according to time and place. So the heart of the long mantra that you'll hear that goes 3 times is actually encapsulates the 42 hands of Kuan Yin, his response bodies. So actually, many of you are familiar. Thank you so much for being here. Some of you may be new to this practice, so you can join in, you can listen. whatever level you want to engage it, you're very welcome to engage it. As I said, it's partly spoken, it's partly sung. We have the composer of the sung parts here with us, which is Mel, or Melanie Davis. Professional name is Mel Zaki. Hi, Mel from England, and thank you so much. We'll be playing beautiful voice of Mel and composition for this practice. And as we talked about in the first part of the session today, the meditation and Dharma and reflections, that we are dedicating this ceremony to the very, very hard to digest salt crystal, toxic and deadly and horrific in its current iteration of what's happening in these ancient lands, in the Middle East, in Israel, Palestine, Gaza, and in particular to halt to really halt hostilities. We really need hostilities to be halted according to international law. We need to make sure that people have the means to survive, that's not blocked, and so on. So, but we're also holding everyone involved in this conflict, impacted by this conflict, and all conflicts ultimately that arise from this, the poisons of the mind. We're holding it all within the ceremony. So we're dedicating this ceremony in particular to this area and the absolutely horrific unfolding that's happening there right now, and bringing that into our heart, into our mind as we do the ceremony, but to all beings everywhere as well, as we usually do in the Dharma practice. So I'm not going to go into much further explanation or Q&As and things like that, because really this is ceremony. We don't always have to understand it all intellectually and have it all cognitively down. It's actually just the doing of it and putting ourselves in the process of the ceremony itself, which is like a prayer. And as we go through each part of the ceremony, we are actually part of putting ourselves into a process that was part of generating blessings to offer this prayer at this time. So it's a beautiful thing that we can do. I'm glad we can do this together. I've done this ceremony for many decades actually, but I'm always surprised. It's not easy. It takes some stamina to get through. It's about an hour and 15 minutes long. It's like a meditation, so you can just read through the different parts as we go through it. If you need to rest a bit and then come back, please just adjust according to your body capacity. There's lots of bows in it. I'm not sure, I've sort of pulled a muscle. I'm not sure I can do all the bows, but I'll have a go. But to really treat it like a meditation and allow yourself just to plunge into the meditations and contemplations and the process of it, and being part of doing this together and joining in this collective prayer that we're offering at this time for all people caught in this enormous suffering that's happening right now in the lands of Palestine, Israel, Gaza, and so on, and the West Bank and accompanying countries that are impacted, and for all beings everywhere, because this is a global phenomena. All impacted in all wars, all beings everywhere. So let's just hold that in our hearts, and we'll start the ceremony. At the end, we'll dedicate again. If there's anything in particular you'd like to say about that, you can put it in chat and we can read that out, and that will be part of the ending dedication. Remember, what you're putting in the chat is dedication, prayer, not commentary on all the different ways the mind can go into around what's happening there right now. We're just dedicating a prayer. This is a function of the ceremony by invoking the power of awakening, the power of Kuan Yin to be present. Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you for being here. It's really, really important that we can do this. Appreciate it. Let's do it. You'll start with a few bells, so you can just get yourself arranged as you hear the bells. Open your text and it goes straight into the text. Sorry, just one last. I know there's so much to say about the ceremony, but there's a point towards about 2/3 in, when there's the recognition of harm done to self and other, personally and collectively. There's a moment where we make an offering. It was just see it in the text. I'll be making an offering on behalf of us all to this shrine. If you don't have a shrine or an altar upon which to place an offering, then you can just imagine an offering and imagine that you're making an offering on behalf of the dedication of the practice that we're doing to the peoples of the lands that we're thinking of at this time. Thank you. Just sit here for a moment as I started, the bells that you'll hear, the sounding of the gong. In case any of you have a problem with sound, you can just message me and I'll try and do whatever I can.
With one mind I bow the everlasting triple jewel of the 10 directions.
All in this assembly, with incense and flowers, make offerings to adorn the Dharma realm. May this fragrant flower cloud fully pervade the 10 directions. May one by one all realms be adorned. May the Bodhisattva path be fulfilled, and all beings realize the perfect peace of the pure heart. This offering pervades the 10 directions, making a tower of subtle, wonderful light. All heavenly music, incense, and countless precious objects are offered everywhere to the triple jewel of the 10 directions. Each offering entirely pervades the Dharma realm, each one unimpeded, exhausting the bounds of the future, doing the Buddha's work, and spreading fragrance everywhere over all living beings. Having received the fragrance, they bring forth the Bodhi mind, the mind and heart of awakening, and together they enter the unconditioned and realize the Buddha's wisdom. Namo, the former Buddha, light of Dharma, now known as Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, perfect in miraculous merit, complete in great compassion, who in a single body and mind manifests 1,000 hands and 1,000 eyes, who illumines and looks upon the Dharma realm, and protects and upholds living beings, and causes them to bring forth the great mind of the way, who teaches them to hold the perfect spiritual mantra, to leave forever the unwholesome paths, and to be reborn at the time of a Buddha. Obstructive karma and illnesses that bind the body are caused to melt away. No one can exhaust the praises of Kuan Yin's awesome spiritual might. Therefore, with one mind, I return my life in worship.
With one mind I bow to my original teacher Sakyamuni Buddha, world honored one.
The worshipped and the worshipper are empty and still in nature. The response and the way are intertwined inconceivably. This way place of mine is like a wish-fulfilling pearl. The Buddha Sakyamuni appears before me as I appear before Sakyamuni Buddha. Bowing down, I return my life in worship.
With one mind I bow to Amitabha Buddha of the land of ultimate bliss, world honored one.
The worshipped and the worshipper are empty and still in nature. The response and the way are intertwined inconceivably. This way place of mine is like a wish-fulfilling pearl. Amitabha Buddha of the land of ultimate bliss appears before me as I appear before Amitabha Buddha. Bowing down, I return my life in worship.
With one mind I bow to Medicine Master Buddha of the Lapis Lazuli land, world honored one.
The worshipped and the worshipper are empty and still in nature. The response and the way are intertwined inconceivably. This way place of mine is like a wish-fulfilling pearl. Medicine Master Buddha of the Lapis Lazuli land appears before me as I appear before Medicine Master. Bowing down, I return my life in worship.
With one mind I bow to King of 1,000 lights, Buddha of countless aeons past, world honored one.
The worshipped and the worshipper are empty and still in nature. The response and the way are intertwined inconceivably. This way place of mine is like a wish-fulfilling pearl. King of 1,000 lights Buddha appears before me as I appear before King of 1,000 lights. Bowing down, I return my life in worship.
With one mind I bow to all the Buddhas of the past, many as the sons of countless Ganges rivers, world honored ones.
The worshipped and the worshipper are empty and still in nature. The response and the way are intertwined inconceivably. This way-place of mine is like a wish-fulfilling pearl. All the Buddhas of the past, many as the sands of countless Ganges rivers, appear before me as I appear before all the Buddhas. Bowing down, I return my life in worship.
With one mind I bow to all the Buddhas of the 10 directions, world-honored ones.
The worshipped and the worshipper are empty and still in nature. The response and the way are intertwined inconceivably. This way-place of mine is like a wish-fulfilling pearl. All the Buddhas of the 10 directions appear before me, as I appear before all the Buddhas. Bowing down, I return my life in worship.
With one mind I bow to the spiritual wonderful words of the Dharani, of the greatly compassionate mind, perfect, full, unimpeded, vast and great.
The Dharma nature, like emptiness, cannot be seen. The everlasting Dharma jewel is difficult to conceive of. With my 3 karmas of body, speech, and mind now in accord with Dharma, I pray that it will manifest and accept this offering.
With one mind I bow to the greatly kind, greatly compassionate Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, who with 1,000 hands and 1,000 eyes contemplates contemplates at ease the sounds of the world.
The worshipped and the worshipper are empty and still in nature. The response and the way are intertwined inconceivably. This way place of mine is like a wish-fulfilling pearl. The greatly compassionate Bodhisattva manifests in it, and I now manifest before the greatly compassionate one as I seek to dissolve all obstacles.
With one mind I bow to the greatly kind, greatly compassionate Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, who with 1,000 hands and 1,000 eyes contemplates at ease the sounds of the world.
The worshipped and the worshipper are empty and still in nature. The response and the way are intertwined inconceivably. This way place of mine is like a wish-fulfilling pearl. The greatly compassionate Bodhisattva manifests in it, and I now manifest before the greatly compassionate one as I seek to dissolve all obstacles.
With one mind I bow to the greatly kind, greatly compassionate Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, who with 1,000 hands and 1,000 eyes contemplates at ease the sounds of the world.
The worshipped and the worshipper are empty and still in nature. The response and the way are intertwined inconceivably. This way place of mine is like a wish-fulfilling pearl. The greatly compassionate Bodhisattva manifests in it, and I now manifest before the greatly compassionate one as I seek to dissolve all obstacles.
With one mind I bow to the Bodhisattva who has attained great strength
The worshipped and the worshipper are empty and still in nature. The response and the way are intertwined inconceivably. This way place of mind is like a wish-fulfilling pearl. Great strength Bodhisattva manifests in it, and I now manifest before great strength as I seek to dissolve all obstacles.
With one mind I bow to sunlight Bodhisattva and moonlight Bodhisattva.
The worshipped and the worshipper are empty and still in nature. Response and the way are intertwined inconceivably. This way place of mind is like a wish-fulfilling pearl. Sunlight Bodhisattva and moonlight Bodhisattva manifest in it, and I now manifest before sunlight and moonlight as I seek to dissolve all obstacles.
With one mind I bow to Manjusri Bodhisattva of great wisdom.
The worshipped and the worshipper are empty and still in nature. The response and the way are intertwined inconceivably. This way place of mind is like a wish-fulfilling pearl. Manjushri Bodhisattva manifests in it, and I now manifest before Manjushri as I seek to dissolve all obstacles.
With one mind I bow to earth's door Bodhisattva, liberator of those in states of woe.
The worshipped and the worshipper are empty and still in nature. The response and the way are intertwined inconceivably. This way place of mind is like a wish-fulfilling pearl. Earth's store Bodhisattva manifests in it, and I now manifest before Earth's door as I seek to dissolve all obstacles.
With one mind I bow to Samantabhadra Bodhisattva, holder of great vows.
The worshipped and the worshipper are empty and still in nature. The response and the way are intertwined inconceivably. This way place of mind is like a wish-fulfilling pearl. Samantabhadra Bodhisattva manifests in it. And I now manifest before Samantabhadra as I seek to dissolve all obstacles.
With one mind I bow to Maitreya Bodhisattva, the future Buddha.
The worshipped and the worshipper are empty and still in nature. The response and the way are intertwined inconceivably. This way place of mind is like a wish-fulfilling pearl. Maitreya Bodhisattva manifests in it. And I now manifest before Maitreya as I seek to dissolve all obstacles.
With one mind I bow to all the bodhisattvas of the 10 directions and the 3 periods of time.
The worshipped and the worshipper are empty and still in nature. The response and the way are intertwined inconceivably. This way place of mind is like a wish-fulfilling pearl. All the bodhisattvas of the 10 directions and 3 times manifest in it. And I now manifest before all bodhisattvas as I seek to dissolve all obstacles.
With one mind I bow to Mahakasapa Mahapajapati Ananda and all the elders of the immeasurable Sawaka Sangha.
The worshipped and the worshipper are empty and still in nature. The response and the way are intertwined inconceivably. This way place of mind is like a wish-fulfilling pearl. All the elders of the Savaka Sangha manifest in it, and I now manifest before the great Sangha as I seek to dissolve all obstacles.
With one mind I bow to all the countless saints and sages of the Dharma realm, past, present, and future.
The worshipped and the worshipper are empty and still in nature. The response and the way are intertwined inconceivably. This way place of mind is like a wish-fulfilling pearl. All the countless saints and sages of the Dharma realm manifest in it, and I now manifest before all saints and sages as I seek to dissolve all obstacles.
With one mind I bow to the triple jewel on behalf of my parents, ancestors, and the family of all living beings. With one mind I bow on behalf of all the heavenly gods, dragons, Dharma protectors, the spirits of empty space, the spirits of rivers and oceans, the spirits of fountains and springs, the spirits of streams and pools, the spirits of herbs, grasses, and woods, the household salt spirits the water, spirits the fire, spirits the wind, spirits the earth, spirits the mountain, spirits all the gods, dragons, devas, and spirits who protect those who hope mantras, each with his or her retinue on their behalf. I bow to the triple jewel.
The sutra says, if there are those who wish to recite and bear in mind this mantra and bring forth a heart of kindness and compassion for all living beings, they should join me in making these vows.
Namo, greatly compassionate Kuan Yin, I vow that I will quickly know Dharmas. Namo, greatly compassionate Kuan Yin, I vow that I will soon obtain the wisdom I. Namo, greatly compassionate Kuan Yin, I vow that I will quickly cross over the sea of suffering. Namo, greatly compassionate Kuan Yin, I vow that I will cultivate good skill in means. Namo, greatly compassionate Kuan Yin, I vow that I will cross all living beings over the sea of suffering. Namo, greatly compassionate Kuan Yin, I vow that I will soon attain precept samadhi and the way. Namo, greatly compassionate Kuan Yin, I vow that I will quickly dwell in the unconditioned. Namo, greatly compassionate Kuan Yin, I vow that I will soon unite with the Dharma nature body. Namo, greatly compassionate Namo, greatly compassionate Kuan Yin, I vow that I will bold the prajna wisdom bold. If I face the hell's intense pain, hatred and despair, they will be transformed and disappear. If I face the hungry ghost, loss, anguish, burning need, hunger and thirst, they will become nourished and full. If I face the asuras, vast competition, merciless judgment and heartless disregard, their angry thoughts will be tamed. If I face animals bound by exploitation, fear, blind instinct and dullness, they will attain freedom and wisdom.
Namo Kuan Yin Pusa, 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 Namo Kuan Yin Pusa. Namo Amitabha Buddha, 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 Namo Amitabha Buddha. Kuan Yin Bodhisattva said to the Buddha, World-honored one, if any living being who recites and holds the spiritual mantra of great compassion should fall into the three lower paths, I vow not to attain full enlightenment. If any living being that recites and holds this spiritual mantra of great compassion should not be reborn in any Buddha land, I vow not to attain full enlightenment. If any living being that recites and holds the spiritual mantra of great compassion should not attain immeasurable samadhis and eloquence, I vow not to attain full enlightenment. If any living being who recites and holds the spiritual mantra of great compassion should not obtain whatever they seek in this present life, then it cannot be the Dharani of the great compassion mind. Having spoken these words before the assembly, Kuan Yin Bodhisattva put her palms together, stood upright, and brought forth a thought of great compassion for all beings. She smiled broadly, and in this way spoke the wonderful spiritual phrases of the Dharani of great compassion, perfect, full, unimpeded, vast and great. The Dharani runs like this. Namo Haladanandolaye Namo Aliyen Bolujedi Shambalaye Bodhisattva Mohasattvaye Mohajalunichaye Nansapanlava Sodanodasin Namo Sijilido Imangaliyen Balujidi Shufalando Banamo Nolaj Sili Moam Bando Samye Sambata Shupanga Shriyan Sapasado Namo Basa Namo Pajimo Fataro Rajutanana Palu Silu Jari Jaladi Iksi Moha Bodhisattva Samba Samba Mola Mola Moksi Moksi Lito Yan Chulu Chulu Tulu Tulu Fashiyere Moha Fashiyere Dala Dala Dili Nisha Fall Chula Chula Momo Vamo Lamo Dili Isi Isi Shana Fola Shiri Fasha Fasham Bola Shiri Hulu Hulu Mola Hulu Hulu Sili Sola Sola Sili Sili Sulu Sulu Kuttiya Bodhiya Bodhoya Bodhoya Midili Andola Jinjadili Shining Nopaya Mona Soba Sitoye Soba Moha Sitoye Soba Sitoye Yeshupanaye Soba Lola Jinju Soba Mola Nola Soba Silu Sangha Muchaye Soba Soba Moha Sitoye Soba Chachila Sitoye Soba Bodo Moje Sitoye Soba Nola Jinju Panchelaye Soba Mopali Shanchelaye Soba Namo Haladanandolaye Namo Aliyen Bolujedi Shambalaye Soba Nansi Dandamandola Batoye Soba Namo Haladanandolaye Namo Aliyen Bolujedi Shambalaye Baya Moha Sado Baya Mohan Jaluni Jaye Nansapanlavaya Sodanoda Sinammo Sijilito Imangali Kalujidi Shufalando Banamonola Jinju Sili Mohan Bando Samye Sampata Shupangwashi Sapasado Namo Pasado Namo Padima Pattado Dajutunana Palusilu Jari Jaladi Isi Mahabodhisattva Sabha Sabha Mola Mola Musi Musi Lito Yunjulu Julu Tulu Tulu Vashiyere Moha Vashiyere Tola Tola Dili Nishu Fola Ye Jela Jela Moma Isi Isi Shanno Shanno Vara Shan Bola Shele Vasha Vashan Bola Shele Hulu Hulu Mo Hulu Hulu Sili Sola Sola Sili Sili Sulu Sulu Buddhiye Buddhiye Buddhoye Buddhoye Mili Nola Jinje Dili Shining Nopaya Mona Sopa Sitoye Sopa Moha Sitoye Sopa Sitoye Shupanaye Sopa Nola Jinju Sopa Mola Nola Sopa Silu Sangha Muchaye Sopa Sopa Moha Sitoye Sopa Chachila Sitoye Sopa Bodo Moje Sitoye Sopa Nola Jinju Panchelaye Sopa Mopali Shanchelaye Sopa Namo Haladanandolaye Namo Aliyen Bolujedi Shambalaye Soba Nansi Ganduman Atoye Soba Namo Haladanandolaye Namo Aliyen Bolujedi Shambalaye Bodhisattva Moha Sattva Moha Nichaye Nansapanlavaya Sodanoda Sinammo Sijilito Imangaliyen Balujidi Shufalando Banamo Nola Sili Moam Bando Samye Sampata Shupanga Shriyan Sapasado Namo Basado Namo Pajemo Fataro Namo Kuan Yin Buddha. Namo Kuan Yin Buddha. Namo Kuan
I and all living beings, from beginningless time, have been constantly obstructed by ignorance of the 3 karmic actions and the 6 sense faculties, not knowing the essentials of escape, merely complying with birth and death, and not knowing the wonderful Dharma. Now, although I know, I continue, along with all other living beings, to be hindered by all kinds of difficult conditions. Now, before Kuan Yin and the Buddhas of the 10 directions, for the sake of living beings everywhere, I acknowledge harm I have done, and I return my life, making a clear intention to transform my unskillful tendencies, praying there will be protection and that offenses are dissolved. Everywhere, for the sake of all in the triple world, for living beings of the Dharma realm, I vow to transform greed, hatred, and delusion. Along with living beings, from beginningless time, because of attachments and deluded views based on a distorted selfishness, I have committed countless unwholesome deeds. Therefore, on this day, I have come to trust deeply in cause and effect. I give birth to a healthy sense of remorse for harm done to self and others, and resolve to make amends by seeking the Buddha wisdom. Knowing that all dharmas are empty and still, for the sake of all living beings, I abandon the unwholesome tendencies and cultivate the good. I pray that Kuan Yin Bodhisattva will compassionately gather in this offering and receive it. With the utmost sincerity of mind, I acknowledge harm I have done. This very mind, shared by all living beings of the Dharma realm, is fundamentally complete with the 1,000 Dharmas. It has in full all spiritual strength and the use of bright wisdom. Above, it equals the Buddha mind. Below, it is identical to all that lives. Beginningless dark movement blocks this still brightness. Contact with things dims and confuses it, and thoughts arise and bind it in attachments. In the midst of the sameness of dharmas arises the notion of self and other. In all existence, attachment and views are the basis, and unwholesome actions of body and speech are the conditions that give rise to all suffering. Killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying and unskillful speech, misuse of intoxicants, breaking the precepts of blameless living, slandering the triple jewel, not respecting saints and sages, and being confused regards right and wrong. Karmic actions such as these are measureless and boundless. In the midst of oppressive conditions from the past and present, I am obstructed in the dharmas of the path, and am hindered in my ability to become well seasoned in the cultivation of the way. Now, having met the perfect spiritual mantra of great compassion and the guidelines of blameless living according to the Bodhisattva path, I am able to quickly dissolve transgressions like these. Together, we acknowledge our heartbreak at the devastation and harm done to the bounteous sacred earth, to our ecosystems that are tortured due to our greed, to the multitudes of peoples decimated through wars, enslavement, oppression, the coveting of their land, theft of their resources, and the lack of respect for their rights, to the billions of animals and creatures who suffer abuse, death, and extinction at our hands, to the exploitation of the great oceans, rivers, magnificent forests, lakes, and waterways, mountain tops, minerals, and forms of life that cannot defend against our aggression. Therefore, on this day with utter sincerity, I recite and hold this mantra and return to Kuan Yin Bodhisattva and to all the great masters of the 10 directions. I bring forth the Bodhi mind and resolve to cultivate the practice of true words. I vow to extend awareness, care, and love to this great earth and to all who live upon her. Together with all living beings, we confess all wrongdoings, seeking freedom from all obstruction.
May the greatly compassionate Kuan Yin Bodhisattva protect and uphold us with 1,000 hands and illumine us with 1,000 eyes.
May all blessings generated from this practice adorn the Buddha's Pure Lands, repaying the kindness of the awakened ones, the ancestors, and all beings, while aiding those suffering in all realms. May all who hear this Dharma bring forth the resolve of Bodhi, of awakening. As we purify and transform obstructive karma, may we join together in one body, heart, and mind, sustaining the Bodhisattva intention in service of all.
So I'm going to just, in the traditional way, pour the water from the ceremony that captured the ceremony, the intentions, and as a prayer for the people of Gaza, Palestine, Israel, defined in those ways, shaped in those identities, and yet caught in this karmic wheel of profound trauma and violence, oppression, and very, very dangerous moment. So if you would like to offer a prayer, you either put in the chat, or if you want to speak it out loud, or some words, then we can capture that in the water and we'll transfer it through the pouring of the water into the receptacle for sharing of blessings. Please feel welcome to unmute yourself. If you want to say something, to share a prayer. Yes, of course, to Ukraine. Ukraine is really in our hearts, and it's not unconnected with what's happening in the Middle East, of course. We want to really remember all of those impacted by what's happening in that part of the world. And again, the children, so many children have been not only killed, but kidnapped, taken from their homes and their families. In the same way as the children in Gaza, and then the children kidnapped from Israel. This is really a terrible impact of this level of lack of humanity. So let's please also share for the peoples involved in the wars in all parts of the world, in Ukraine, and those perpetuating the violence too. Include them. May they awaken, may they be freed from fear and hatred too. May all interbeings be free, for the ending of the ongoing wars inside and outside of ourselves. For the Aboriginal and Torres Strait peoples following the referendum. Yeah, that was heartbreaking too. This is Australia. May we hold that expression of ignorance really, and still don't let it deter from us to keep working towards uplifting and awakening for all, peace to all. I seek to dissolve all obstacles. Thank you all. So with that prayer and any prayers unspoken held in your heart, let's just hold a prayer for wherever in particular we may like it to go, and for all beings, for those in the Middle East, for those in Ukraine, for those in all war zones, those suffering from loss of home, refugeed, those impacted by extreme climate shifts, droughts, and so on. All beings everywhere, for the freedom of suffering from suffering, or transformation of suffering into wisdom and compassion. May it be so. May all be free. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for this session, for the earlier sessions. It's been really heartwarming to know we can join together and offer these kinds of practices. I feel it's really important, really powerful that we can do that, but we must also translate it into taking actions to protect, particularly at the moment, those that are threatened their whole lives by this unleashing of this massive amount of violence. We can all do something. Please do that. We're called to do, to act, to support where we can. So I know Thanissara is with me and with us in spirit. He knows this is happening. He's still doing his deep practice in the city of 10,000 Buddhas. His deep studies. And doing many, many of these kinds of practices. Thank you, Julia. May we all bring peace and understanding to all our locations, everywhere. Yeah, everywhere. It's a real battle everywhere. And so each of us are called to uplift the frequency of the planet at this time of great shadow. Thank you, Joanne, for all vulnerable people and animals across the world, all the innocents, vulnerable beings impacted. Yes. Okay, well, much love to everyone. We'll continue. I sort of feel we need to do these practices a lot, actually. Things have been pretty full for me and will be for the next few months, but especially this coming year is going to be a really critical year. There's many things to be won to help uplift and sustain some level of well-being for as many beings as possible for the work ahead. So we'll do more of these practices. It's so important to, at least on a vibrational frequency level, we can offer that into the mix. So thank you for your practice. Thank you for your prayers, for everything that you're doing. And we'll see you down the road. Much love. Take care.